From flying at Mach 1 with the airstrike to an actual use for the Delocus bar, here are 30 Team Fortress 2 tricks that you should definitely be using. Rocket jumping can be hard sometimes, but what if there was a trick we could use to make it much easier? Well, fortunately for us, the airstrike exists. With the ability to shoot rockets incredibly quickly, as long as you can get that first rocket jump, the airstrike will take care of the rest. You don't have to waste time lining up the perfect angle for your second rocket. You can just spam rockets at the floor and the airstrike will send you flying through the air. Are teleporters too expensive for you? Well, then you'll really appreciate this handy trick. We all know the Eureka effect makes teleporters cheaper, but you might not have known that the cheaper upgrade cost will still stay active even after you switch to a different wrench. You can use this trick with the Jag to upgrade your teleporters quickly and cheap. A lot of people think the loose cannon is a gimmicky knockback weapon, but it's actually a terrifying movement tool. Holding down M1 with the loose cannon causes the cannon to explode in your hands, and if you angle this correctly, it can send you flying through the air. Use this to dive bomb some snipers and ruin their day. Sometimes heavy is just too slow. Sure, the gloves of running urgently help a little bit, but using them drains your health incredibly quickly. Luckily for us, the Delocus bar can help us out here. Eating the bar after using the gloves will for whatever reason refill your health much quicker than it does normally, and it'll even overheal you to max health. Spy gets countered by Pyro, there's no way around that. Next time there's a Pyro on the other team who's always getting in the way of your sneaky plans, pull out the Spycicle and shoot them before they burn you to death. The Spycicle's fire immunity can definitely help you escape, but it can also help you survive in a fight, and the afterburn immunity means you won't burn afterwards. Want to sneak behind enemy lines like a pro? As the engineer, you can stand on top of your own buildings, which means you can use them as stools to climb to unexpected places like this cheeky spot on Upward. Soldier's taunt kill with the escape plan or equalizer is pretty risky, and it usually just results in your death. But there's one useful trick you can do with this taunt kill that makes it actually not bad. Try standing underneath something like this bridge. The grenade clips through the ground and can kill people above you while you remain perfectly safe. Not everybody knows that Demo Man can actually blast jump with his grenades too. This is almost always worse than a sticky jump, but it's useful to know nonetheless. This next one might seem pretty obvious, but it's something people often completely forget about in the heat of the moment. Sentry guns turn by themselves, so next time you find yourself repeatedly corner peeking one and trying not to get blown up, just wait for it to look the other way. It'll buy you enough time to land a couple good shots. As the spy, you can almost always fool people into believing you're disguised with this simple trick. All you have to do is press either R or B while someone is looking at you. This makes your disguise either reload or switch weapons, and for whatever reason most people completely forget that spies can do this. Even a voice command can often fool the enemy team every now and then. In medieval mode, the medic becomes pretty much useless without his medigun. Or does he? It's time to finally unequip that Ubersoft, because in medieval mode the amputator actually becomes extremely useful. The taunt ability still heals teammates, meaning you can still support the team and lead them to victory. Hey you! Yeah, you. Do you want to give up on helping the team in order to secure some pretty funny kills?
Yeah. If
that sounds like fun to you, try out this next strategy as the engineer. Instead of tactically placing your sentry to guard the objective, hide it in the most random and unexpected spot you can think of. Sure, it might lose the round for your team, but when somebody eventually stumbles into it, there's no chance they'll see it coming. Next time you're struggling to get kills with the Market Gardener, just remember this. Swing well before you hit the ground. The Gardener takes a bit of time to actually register the hit, and if you swing too low, you won't get the crit. Most people try to use the bonk atomic punch to creep behind enemy lines, but more often than not, someone from the other team will just follow you and you won't end up being very sneaky. A much more effective way to use the bonk is as an escape tool. Whenever you're in danger, just hide behind a corner and pop out the bonk. As long as your enemies don't kill you mid-sip, you'll get a free escape. Another item that people often miss a use of is the Scottish Resistance. Whenever you're setting up a traps, you should always be prepared with a plan B. Place a trap right where you're standing, and if anyone rushes you, just back up and use that for an easy trap kill. A good pyro is always making use of air blast, but remember that air blast isn't just for reflecting rockets and pipes, it also pushes people back. On many maps this can be used to knock people off cliffs or into traps, which is often much more convenient than trying to kill them with fire. Is there a pesky Frenchman on the other team who just seems to always be behind you? Well, the best piece of advice I can give you is just turn around every now and then. Seriously, spies take time to decloak and walk over to you, so if you just turn around every once in a while, you'll definitely catch them off guard. And if this doesn't work out, just go pyro and ruin their day. This next strategy might seem a bit counterintuitive at first, but if you have the skill to pull it off, it can be dangerously effective. As the sniper, most of the time your enemies won't even bother crossing your sightline if they know you're there. You can really catch people off guard by taking flank routes and hiding in spots that no sniper would normally hide in. If you've got the aim to pull off these kind of shots, you'll piss the enemy team off in no time. Uh-oh, it looks like you've accidentally angered the enemy heavy. Luckily for you, heavies actually have an easily exploitable weakness that can often guarantee you the kill in 1v1s. All you have to do is listen. Go hide around a corner or something, and as soon as you hear his minigun stop revving, round the corner and he'll be defenseless, unless he's using the Tomislav, and in that case, just completely ignore everything that I just said. As the spy, you gotta watch out for enemies that have their headphones plugged in. Decloaking makes a loud noise, so if you do it right behind someone, chances are they'll just turn around and catch you in the act. One trick you can easily do to mitigate this is simply hide behind any sort of anything. Even barely rounding a corner can decrease the volume of the cloak sound by a ton, meaning you're free to backstab as many clueless snipers as you want. And if those snipers happen to be wearing the Razorback, fear not. Just get as close to them as you can and land a couple revolver shots. If you want to make this even easier, just equip the Ambassador and line up the headshot. You'll kill them in 2 clean shots, giving them absolutely no time to react. Next time you're playing Engineer, remember this next tip. If you find yourself in a 1v1, the best move is usually to just start building a sentry gun, and then shoot at your enemy after. For whatever reason, 9 times out of 10 your opponent will get completely distracted by the sentry gun and try to destroy it before it finishes building. Use this opportunity to pump them full of lead with your trusty shotgun. Playing Pyro can be boring due to their absolute lack of movement options when compared to Scout or Soldier. However, if you want a cool and effective way to maneuver the map as Pyro, look no further than the detonator. If you perform the same motions for a rocket jump, and then press left click immediately followed by right click, you can boost yourself forward with some decent speed. When playing Soldier or Demo Man, always be mindful of your explosives. If you're not careful, sometimes you'll accidentally blow yourself up while trying to finish someone off. When you notice an enemy starting to get too close to you, just remember that explosives aren't your only method of dealing damage. Soldier has a shotgun by default, and even if you aren't using the shotgun, you always have a melee weapon available. Here's a niche but useful one. As the Engineer, it's hard to hide teleporters in cheeky spots because the glow effect they create is very easy to notice. But this glow effect only appears when you have both teleporters up and running. If you only build an exit and teleport to it with the Eureka effect, you can hide the exit in so many cheeky spots like bushes or odd map corners. Are headshots too hard to hit as sniper? Do you want free kills but don't want to bother improving your aim? Well, the Machina is the perfect rifle for you, my friend. A fully charged body shot with this thing does a whopping 173 damage, which is enough to one-shot most of the classes in the game. And even if it doesn't one-shot, you can follow up with the SMG for a near guaranteed kill on 8 of the 9 classes in the game. If for whatever reason you need to deal with a sentry gun as Pyro, the Dragon's Fury is by far the best choice. Due to some weird spaghetti code that handles how much damage it does, it ends up absolutely shredding buildings. But then again, it's not very often that you get close enough to a sentry to actually make use of this. It's pretty common knowledge at this point that the Engineer can use the Wrangler to rocket jump with level 3 sentries, but what's less known is that you can use the Wrangler to boost yourself with only the bullets. By aiming the gun at your butt, you can push yourself up by firing and climb up walls without having to spend precious metals upgrading your gun. If you've played this game for a while, you're definitely familiar with corner stabs, but something you might not have considered before is that the corner stab movement works with any class. Even if you're playing Scout or something that can't backstab the enemy, it's not very difficult to kill someone who's looking the complete opposite direction. The last tip of this video is probably the most important. I don't care if you're a diehard Soldier main, if you join a game and there's already 3 or more soldiers, for the sake of the team composition, please just pick any other class. Too many of one class can be really strong, but the vast majority of the time you're just going to be hurting your team. And while you're deciding what class to play instead of Soldier, consider subscribing.